Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a lovely day so far. So in today's video I am doing a pretty much full face of Profusion cosmetics, specifically trying out this brand new product here. This is the Profusion Cosmetics Flawless 2-in-1 foundation and concealer, and this foundation basically has no claims. There is basically nothing written on the website about it. All it says on the back is that it's a foundation and concealer, which I like to use separate for those products, but we'll see how it goes. All it says is shake well before use, apply a small amount onto the skin and blend outwards with a brush or beauty sponge, layer on for desired coverage. So we're going to see how this looks on somebody with incredibly dry skin. I'm not going to put anything underneath it, like I've just done my skincare, and I'm going to see how this looks over the top of it. I will also say this is the second bottle of this that I ordered. The descriptions of the shades on the Profusion website was a little deceptive. I'll say I ordered this other one sec. I ordered this one originally. This is the fair beige colour, and the description said that it was a fair colour with a yellow undertone, and I'm like, yeah, yellow undertone, but what about that shade is fair? Like, I am fair, and that is like so dark on me. Like, even in summer this wouldn't work for me, so I'm gonna like sell this one or something. I don't know what I'll do with it. It was very, very affordable. I think it was like $6.99, something like that. So obviously very affordable. I don't mind having to buy a second one. I would just rather not have to have bought a second one. So this one is Fair Ivory, and that colour is much, much better for me. I am hoping that it's going to be perfect for me because I have other videos that I want to film today. So what I'm going to do is I'll put 2 pumps on the back of my hand. I'm going to do one half with a brush and one half with a sponge. It is very, very thick. Like, I just touched that and it's like very, very thick. So interested to see what level of coverage we're going to get with this. I will try and like disperse this fairly evenly across my face. Obviously there's going to have to be a little bit of an overlap between like doing a sponge on one side and a brush on the other, so I do actually have some other videos that I want to film today, so I'm hoping this doesn't look too crazy. The colour is fairly alright for me, I would say. I'm just going to pick up what's left off the back of my hand. There really wasn't very much on there with my sponge, and I will do this side with the sponge. Oh, it's got a very perfumed scent. That smells like my mum's makeup from the 90s. I'm not sure I like that. Okay, so blend it out with a sponge. I feel like that is giving me a really nice amount of coverage. I really like the finish of that. It is definitely oxidizing somewhat. I feel like that is definitely darker than when I first applied it. So I'm glad I went and got the lighter shade rather than trying to make that darker shade work for me, because that would not have ended well. So I'll get my foundation brush and I will try now and blend out this side. Okay, so I feel like I prefer the side with a sponge where it's quite a thick texture and it's a thick foundation. I feel like you can see the lines. Like, I've tried to blend this really, really well by like pressing this into the skin with the brush, but I feel like I can still see the lines from where I was like moving that around initially. So I will zoom you in and I will show you how this looks on both sides, but I think I will probably go over with my sponge just to even everything out before we move on. So we are up close and personal now. You can see how like glowy and like natural it looks on the skin. I feel like it looks really, really lovely, but there are some areas where I'm like, I do just want to bounce over that with my sponge rather than leaving this side with like the brush marks. I do prefer it on the side with the sponge. Just personal preference. I just generally prefer using a sponge, but I just prefer the finish on this side a little bit more than this side, but both are absolutely beautiful. I feel like I definitely wasn't expecting it to be as glowy as this. I was definitely expecting it to be more matte. I don't know why. Like I said, there were next to no claims on the website, so I don't know what I was basing that off. But I feel like it looks really, really nice. Really nice and glowy. Still quite natural looking, even though it's more coverage than what I would normally do. So far, I like it. So I am just going to bounce over with the sponge just to really press that into the skin on that side, but I feel like in future I would just use a sponge rather than the brush. So then I have another new product to me. This is still in all of the packaging, so just let me get into that first. So this is the Highlight and Contour 6 colour highlight and contour palette. This is in the lightest shade, and I feel like for me I could use any of these colours. Perhaps this, I don't know if this is meant to be a highlight or more of like a shimmery sort of bronzer. If it's a highlight, I don't think I could use that on my skin tone as a highlight, but as a shimmery bronzer I could use that, and both of these highlights here I could use on my skin tone as a highlight. So that's really, really nice that they had like options. They weren't just giving like a generic highlight and contour palette that would really only work for like a very small section of like skin tones. So I'm going to take my Real Techniques blush brush and I'm going to dip into Light Sculpt, this middle one on the bottom row. Oh, that's very, very powdery. Can you see how powdery that one is? Just from that tiny little dip. Right, noted. It's probably going to be quite pigmented. And I will just start buffing this in where I would normally do like a contoury bronzer. Okay, so that has given me cheekbones that I definitely didn't have before. That's a really beautiful like shadow shade. It's definitely like not warming up my complexion like I would like it to. It is definitely, I mean it says contour in the name, it's definitely a contour powder, but that is like the perfect shadow shade for me. I really, really like that. So then I'm just going to go in with the same brush and I'm going to dip into Tan Sculpt and Hype and just work both of those onto the brush. Try and warm this up a little bit. So I'm just bringing that a little bit higher up on the cheeks. Yeah, that's a really nice, glowy, but still very soft bronzer. Yeah, I like that as well. So then at this side, there is this shade called Cream Light, and I'm wondering if I could use this as like a little bit of a setting powder, just sort of under my eyes, like down the sides of my nose. I feel like that's looking a little bit shiny, so I'll just try and tap a little bit of that in there. Yes, I feel like that's worked really, really nicely, just to very lightly set down like the centre of my face. I feel like I often need that. I don't want to look greasy. I want to look glowy, but I don't want to look greasy. And I feel like that has set that down really, really nicely. Yeah, I like that. Just put a tiny little bit like down the centre, like in between my eyebrows, because you don't look sweaty there either. Yeah, so far that palette, I really, really like it. So far that's working really, really well. So I have a new shade of the liquid blush that I absolutely love. I already have one shade of this and I reach for it all the time, so I'm excited to get into this one. This is in the shade Mai Tai, and I think in spring this like warm peachy colour will be absolutely beautiful. So with these liquid blushes, you really have to like shake them up to get the product onto the little spongy applicator, and then I take an Expert face brush from Real Techniques and I like to dab the applicator onto my brush just to give me a little bit more control. I feel like dabbing this onto my face will inevitably just leave me with a circle no matter how fast I can blend it out, whereas with this it's applying it and blending it at the same time. Let's see how this colour looks. Oh yes, as I suspected, that's like a beautiful, warm, corally, orangey, pinky, beautiful for spring. Yes, I like it. So I've just sort of gone over the top of where I put all of that bronzer. I just feel like I needed a little bit more bronzer after I put that blush on. But I absolutely love how the base is looking so far. So far I love it. So I'm just going to take my highlight brush and I'm going to try one of these highlights. So we have Impulse or we have Heartfelt. I think I'm going to go with Impulse, the slightly warmer shade. Let's see how this looks. Oh wow, that's like really intense, but also not at all glittery. Like that is so intense and beautiful. Oh my gosh, I really like that. Let me look up close. So this highlight is simultaneously natural looking and blinding. There is not a single speck of glitter. It looks as if my skin is just wet, but it's like a warm, intense glow. Oh my gosh, I'm such a huge fan of that. That's like the perfect warm, glowy undertone if you are incredibly fair like I am. I was not expecting to like that as much as I am. Huge fan, really like that. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly go off camera and do my brows. I don't have Profusion brow products, so I'm just going to use my e.l.f. Instant Lift brow pencil in neutral brown and my Wow Brow in brunette. So I'll be right back once I've done that. Okay, so that's the brows on, and now I can move on to possibly my favourite step from Profusion products, which is the eyes. I absolutely adore these little 5-pan palettes from Profusion. These are absolutely fantastic. Each one of these has 5 shades, and I think I'm going to use this one today, Terrific Tulip. Each palette has 5 shades and they all have this centre shade that is just the most intense, chunky, beautiful glitter. It's so blindingly beautiful. There's no fallout because it's almost like a gel texture where it has like the glitter primer in it. It's so fantastic. I'm not going to be using that today because I have some other videos that I want to film and that's just not the vibe that I'm going for. I want to do like an orange and purple sort of blend look. I don't really know what I'm doing. I'll let you in on a secret. I don't know what I'm doing. So I'm just going to take a big fluffy brush. I'm going to dip into the orange shade here, which is called Deep Love, and I'm going to work that into my crease, and then I'll pop another shade, either Unconditional or Family, the 2 at the end. I'll pop one of those like right across the lid and just blend it out. That's all I'm wanting to do today. But first up, this orange. Like, look how pigmented that is. That's just one shade, one brush, blended right out. I absolutely love these. If you love like a colourful eye look, which of course I do, these are so intensely pigmented, but they also blend out so beautifully. You can do just like a wash of one thing over the lid and it just blends out so beautifully. So into the orange. Do I go for Family or do I go for Unconditional? I think I'm feeling Unconditional, you know? I think I'm feeling that one. So what brush am I going to take? I'm just going to pack this Unconditional shade all over the lid with a flat brush. And then I will blend it out with something else. So I'm just blending that pink, making sure that the blend in from the pink into that orange is really seamless. Like, lots of blending, but oh my goodness, I love these colours together. I don't think I've ever put those 2 colours together just in one look, but I love them. These matte shades are honestly incredible. Like, you would look at this palette and think, yeah, that glitter in the centre is going to be beautiful, but the mattes are so fantastically high quality. They're incredible for the price. I'm sure that these are like $3.99. Beautiful. I love them. Then another product from Profusion. Another one that I'm absolutely fully obsessed with. I think I put in my yearly favourites at the beginning of this year is the Profusion Everlasting Waterproof Liquid Liner. This has a brush tip, so you can get the most precise, tiny little lines with the tiniest little brush. Genuinely, this would last through an atomic bomb. Like, this stuff is not going anywhere until you take it off with micellar water or a cleansing balm or something at the end of the day. I have worn these on really hot, sweaty days. I have worn these on such cold days that my eyes are streaming. It does not budge. It will outlive anything on your face. And I recently picked up this, which is the Profusion Wing It Super Fine Eyeliner, and this is more of a brush felt tip rather than a brush, but oh my goodness, the liquid that's in it must be like similar or the same, because this also lasts all day, and because this point is so tiny, you can get the tiniest little, finest little wing. Obviously that's not the vibe that I ever go for. I like a really big chunky wing, but it's nice to have the tiny little tip so that you can get like right into the lash line. You can really make the wing as precise and as sharp as you want it to. It's so good, and nobody talks about these liquid liners. I mean, nobody really talks about the brand, I feel like, but honestly, these and the eyeshadows are phenomenal. Like, absolutely out of this world. Never tried anything as phenomenal as these liquid liners. They're just so good. So I'm going to use the pen one. What did I say it was? Wing It Super Fine Eyeliner. I'm going to use this one, and I'm going to not do a very fine wing. I want a big wing today. I'll be right back. So whilst I'm just waiting for those to dry, I wanted to also say about these liquid liners. I got another shade. These are the Profusion Bright Lights Neon Liners. So I picked up the blue shade. I do also have like a pink and, well, a lavender and a mint shade. I use them all the time. They're in my little clear storage things up here. But I got a blue one as well. I realised blue would have probably gone really nicely with what I did today, but never mind. These are the same applicator as the felt tip one. It is a felt tip, but it's the same sort of formula where it just lasts all day. The pigment is so intense with even like the plain like pastel-y colours. It's such an intense colour that it shows up, like these would show up even on like the deepest of skin tones. They're absolutely fantastic. So yeah, I had to pick up another shade. This one's in the shade Bolt, and this one actually says that it's UV Neon. Wow. I don't think that the pastel ones that I have are UV. Not that I go anywhere with UV capabilities, but very excited to try that one out. Obviously forgot that it was out on my table here. So for mascara, I don't have a Profusion one. I'm just going to quickly whack on some of this one, which is the Collection Lash Surge False Lash Effect Mascara. So I'm just going to put a little bit of this on. I also don't have any lip products from Profusion, so I'll also put on some lip products, and then I'll be right back to give like my roundup of everything that I've tried today. Okay, so that is me done. Let's go over what I've tried today. So the foundation, I feel like that looks really nice actually. For a foundation that had like no claims, I feel like this could have claimed a few things. It could have claimed full coverage, it could have claimed natural finish, it could have claimed like very suitable for dry skin. I mean, it says that it's suitable for all skin types. I'm always worried about that when a foundation claims that, because I'm like, dry skin and oily skin are very different things, and obviously I can't speak for how this would work on dry skin. On oily skin, I can claim for how it works on dry skin because that's me. I feel like that looks really nice on dry skin. The only thing is the colour descriptions on the website, take those with a little pinch of salt. Go with like what the actual colour looks like in the bottle rather than what the colour says that it will look like, because I ended up having to order a second one. What else have I tried that's new? Oh, that palette, that highlight and contour palette. What a win. I feel like it's very hard to find contour shades as a pale gal. I feel like finding a contour shade that is fair enough and also grey enough that it works for all of those sort of things, I really, really like that. The liquid blush is beautiful. Oh, I'm making a mess here. The highlighters in this palette also blindingly beautiful. Obviously the eyeshadows and everything I've already used before. So that is my roundup. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you have picked up any of these products. As always, I will leave everything that I can find linked down below. I feel like in America, Profusion is a little bit more easily accessible. I don't know. But in the UK, Profusion is available on Amazon, and they also have their own website, and it does ship very, very quickly. Obviously from Amazon it ships very quickly, but from their own website it also ships very, very quickly. And if you spend like £15 and you get free delivery anyway, so that's a bargain. So that is my roundup of everything. I will leave everything linked down below. But until next time, thank you ever so much for watching. Bye.